Good evening. We are being powered by ASEA. Mark, we'll make that announcement later. Our corporate sponsor.
Sure, absolutely.
Do what we're doing, but hey,
man, that
evening,
pumped me
Mark.
up there. Good evening. That pumped me up there. Felt like I was getting ready to go to the game tonight. My wife's over here getting all pumped watching all this pregame hype for this Alabama Georgia contest. So I live in the great state of Georgia. My wife went to the other institution, the University of Alabama. So, I sit there quietly and watch the game and let the cards and chips fall where they may. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What is it? Georgia's favorite or 2 or 3? Is that?
I don't know about that.
That's
honestly,
what I heard today. That's
really,
the line.
really.
That's the line. Yeah.
Well, if they don't get it done, I will feel bad for them. 1 and 2, for their head coach, Kirby Smart, good man. He at one time coached with Nick Saban, obviously, and this will be interesting. So you never know what Nick Saban's going to bring to the table. So he's been here before, and he loves that word, and his team's into it too, the process. So.
Yeah, I really appreciate that speech that he did. I studied here recently, and
sure.
So he changed that speech. Changed my perspective.
Yep.
How I viewed him, because he had a reputation early on. Today he's a totally different guy. So
right.
I really respect him as a man and a coach. But tonight we're blessed.
You better believe it.
We're all part of the Grow Live Academy, but our guest tonight comes from a bigger arena than our live streaming platform here. He's let him share his story here, but it's nearly 50 years in the broadcast radio space.
Right.
And he's part of our Grow Live Academy, and it's how we've hooked up. And it's an honor to have him on tonight, and I'm looking forward to hear his story. And he's got some secrets of success that he wants to share, because that's our whole platform is Mark, is really to help people that may be looking to go into business themselves, or the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, or even existing people in business, to bring people in to help people better understand the philosophy, mindset, what it takes to win. The struggles you go through to have a championship season in business. So that's our whole platform. And Jay's in the radio business. It's no different than any other business. You got to have the same mindset to succeed in that space as you do whether you're in the insurance business, real estate business, or anything else. So I'm looking forward to our guest, Jay Fox.
Absolutely.
Jay, are you ready? He's ready. He was eating some M&Ms back there.
Yeah,
so
they were big M&Ms. You guys put me some great M&Ms back here. These are and they're silver wraps. So hey, I'll take them. Every diabetic needs these now and then.
Oh my.
Jay, just thanks so much for accepting the invitation to be here tonight. Tonight is just strictly about your story and where you started and where you are today. What do you vision for yourself? And we'll just banter back and forth. Mark, I know, has got some questions, and I have a few as well. Okay. So,
first off, just let me say I'm a major fan of both of you. I've been watching now for a good year, watching you guys, and not a plug for Goodyear there, but
Oh.
I always look forward to you guys coming on and going, yeah. And I just sit back. Sometimes I don't even, I try not to poke in that you can see my name or anything, just so that I can watch. And I watch reruns as well, because you guys replay these, and the things that I've learned from you guys is just it's remarkable. I mean, no matter what you're doing, as long as you keep your ears open and you try and apply every little fact to your own life, you think, oh, maybe I could use that little key of knowledge there. So you find you'll come up with some great things that you thought, well, I can't use that, but all of a sudden it turns out you can. So.
Well, thanks.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. That means a lot coming from you, Jay.
No.
Particularly what you've done with your career,
I'm pretty blessed. I'm blessed and undeserving. My mom and dad tell me that I was interested in playing with the radio when I was 2 or 3 years old, and they knew that by the time I was 4, they knew exactly what I was going to do for a career, because I would play with the radio until I found Elvis Presley singing. because you know the station was playing oldies back then. And I would introduce Elvis because that's what they do on the radio. And so I would, it's, you know, 3 years old, and hey, Elvis. And then I would play with the radio again until I found him playing, and I would introduce him again, and then I'd play with the radio again. And I did that infectiously, and I guess for a long, long time. And as long as I know, my mom and dad says, yeah, you're going to be on the radio. You watch us. And of course, back then I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to be on the radio. I can name that tune in 3 notes. Try that one.
Oh my!
Well, I have to bring my wife in. She's pretty good at. She hears a tune, she knows the music.
There we go. There we go.
I'm
That's one of the things I did for years when I was at ABC Radio Network. Every Wednesday was Stump the DJ, and my partner on the air would just be blown away. She says, "You're not looking these up. You don't have a computer. How do you know this stuff?" I says, "I just know it. This is a gift." And like some people can remember who played second base on the first World Series and who hit the home run. I don't remember that stuff, but I can sure tell you exactly what Norman Greenbaum did, and I know exactly what Karen Carpenter did along with her. I mean, all the things I can tell you, the colors of record labels and stuff. It's just,
oh wow!
For some reason, all the CDs up here, I have a full room of vinyl, which I refuse to get rid of. But I've been collecting music since a kid.
You got a collection there that has more than value of the music.
Oh, yeah. You can't get that on Time Life anymore.
But you just said something. I think it's so important. You know, how do you remember all that stuff? You know, is when you have a passion, a love for something, you absorb everything and it sticks with you. It's only the level of your love and passion and interest, and anybody can have that. Everybody has that same skill within them.
Everybody has something that they absolutely love, and if they realize that, maybe that's the gift. You know, I'm going to get spiritual on you guys. God gives us each a gift, and when you stop and you realize what that gift is, and you start honoring Him by using that gift, you're honoring Him. So He in turn honors you. I have never gotten a job using a resume, ever. And I've been in radio now in the broadcast business for next year's 50 years. And I still feel like the 17-year-old kid that signed on in Winona, Minnesota, my very first radio job. That's where I learned how not to be a radio announcer. Went across the river to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and that's where they initially told me. So my first radio gig, I went in and I was fresh. I was still in high school, as a junior in high school. And I went to this, I just want to be in radio. I just knew that. I don't care what it was. I just wanted to be in radio. And I walked into this station. I said, I'd sure like to work here. And they gave me a chance. And they said, come in this Saturday and you'll go on the air. Oh, great. I ran home. I told my mom, I told my dad, told my sisters, told my brother. And I was so excited to get back to work, or go to work on Saturday morning. Walked in, opened up the door to the studio, and I said, by the way, what kind of music do we play? You ever heard of Manavani?
Oh, my goodness.
Beautiful music. And so it was, okay, it's music. I got no problem with that. My mom and dad listened to some of that, I guess. So I was very aware of some of that. Mm-hmm. But they didn't tell me that every 30 minutes I had to read the news live on the air. Well, I'm a 7-year-old kid who's not doing real well in reading out loud, especially reading cold. And the guy on the AM station, the next studio over, he would read the news. And then just before the half-hour mark, like 30 seconds, he would walk in the door, throw the news copy at me and say, here you go. I have less than 30 seconds, and now I'm going to read that news cold.
Oh, my.
And it was terrible. And the general manager walked in the first day, about my third hour in, after hearing probably 6 of these newscasts being butchered. He goes, dude, you suck. You're going nowhere in this business.
Oh,
so
my.
I was crushed like a 17-year-old would be. And I ended up doing the right thing and using that to empower myself. Wait a minute. He thinks I stink. Watch this. And now they give me copy to read, and I can read it cold with inflection. In fact, in 2015, I had to do the radio commercials for one of the radio commercials, last minute commercial for the Super Bowl. Came in first place on the best commercials.
Right.
We did it one take. It was for Pooh-Pourri, but we were so funny, and we had such a blast doing this thing. And it turned out to be the favorite one that was voted on. I thought, wow. And I thought, what a trip, what a trek I've been on from I can't read to look what I just did, Ma. Yeah.
Jay,
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing. Is that you took that, and a lot of people just crumble and melt, and then that's the end of it. That you had that you had a bigger dream than learning how to read online, right? The dream was bigger than the obstacle, and you said, "I'll master this," right?
That's exactly it. It's like I knew what I wanted, and nothing was going to stand in my way. And my entire life, it's like, yeah, okay, fine, I'm in radio, but I don't want to be here. I'm not going to tell the boss that. I want to be in Chicago working with Larry Rudolph, working with John Records Landecker, my heroes. Cut my teeth listening to John Records Landecker when I lived in Wisconsin. A little town there, Tom. You might have heard it. I had a 62 Buick Special that I bought for my grandmother for $25. And in the middle of winter, it had no heater, no radio in it. So I would take my transistor radio and I would tape it to the dashboard just so I was cool. And I had radio in my car. But I would sit out there in the middle of Wisconsin winters listening to the night broadcast from WLS Chicago. And I listened to John Records Landecker. That's who I cut my teeth with. And I was just blown away by this guy. I finally got to talk to him 2 years ago. And believe it or not, I'm sorry. I fell apart. I started crying. I said, I'm sorry. This isn't fanboy, but it is. I said, you're who I learned how to do my job. I said, I respect everything you did. And it's just this powerful emotion that hit me.
Oh, wow.
We've become very good friends ever since. And he picks on me all the time about that one. But
we've got some comments coming at us here. So you got to address these here, Tom, or do you want me to read them? I can see them on the side.
Yeah, we'll just,
Sure.
Randy, thanks for coming in here. There's an awesome guy that is making an influence in his industry and changing things up with all of the last couple of years. Thanks, Randy, for being on here.
Building wins. Kenny Mayberry, Annie's Pizza. Life is good. Eat pizza. We want pizza. Kenny, I want a delivery. Can you get one here, Peachtree Corners? And you'd have to go to Wisconsin somewhere. And, how's that going to work?
Come to Dallas. I love it.
And Dallas, yeah. I mean, he's got 2 franchises, I think, Kenny. So he's doing well. And he's in the land of, where the greatest used to live, Muhammad Ali. So I always tease him about he needs to create a pizza called the greatest of all time. I don't know if you can get rights to that or.
That's a good. But I like his phrase there. It's Mom said you'll never amount to anything. Watch out, Mom. Watch me. And that is exactly it. Tell me I can't, and I will. And I've had that happen to me so many times. I've only been let go from 2 jobs in my entire career, and they both were blessings in disguise.
Right.
I was at ABC Radio Network, and I found out they were grooming us to be, sold, and being one of the highest paid and high ratings and stuff, and not ego stuff, but anyway, they thought, okay, let's get rid of him because that's a good chunk of change we can save. And I was also a firefighter at the time, and I went to the chief, and I was like really bummed out about the whole thing. And I said, "What am I going to do?" And he said, he says, what else do you do? I said, "Well, I'm a wedding DJ and a certified officiant." He says, "Well, just do that." He says, I said, "Well, I only do it part time." He says, "Don't." And the next Monday, that was on a Friday, didn't say another word. Monday, the phone lit up and has never stopped ringing. Tell me that's not a God thing. And I literally do not advertise my wedding business. And I'm one of the top, and it sounds arrogant. I don't mean to sound that way, but I have earned, I'm at the top of the ladders with a lot of other DJs, but I'm one of the top here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I don't advertise. It's all word of mouth. And what a blessing that is.
You myself being a personal development, how our thinking is energy, or how we believe is energy, and it goes out into the universe. and God. You know, everything operates by law.
Oh yeah.
And so you removed a barrier, and that flowed out, and the phone started ringing. Those things don't happen by accident.
Oh no, they
You
don't.
can call that divine intervention.
Right.
It's physics of our thinking and our emotions transposed into the world. And if you understand what Einstein says about there is no voids. Whatever you put out, it gets replaced by exact energy, the exact same energy. And you had that bottled up in, and you put it out, and it came back with.
And inside my theme song internally is "My God is an awesome God," and He proves it all the time. And I don't ask, but He proves it. And every time I have just stopped and said, "Let me just see what happens," the doors open. And it's like, come on in. I'm going, no, I shouldn't be here. I feel a little weird being here. And they'll, no, we want you in here. And I'm invited to these things. And it's just been phenomenal. I had to do a job or a wedding for the president of the Texas Rangers ball club. His daughter was getting married. And Chuck Morgan is the stadium announcer, whom I've always thought, I'm getting his job when he retires. And he says, and I got to meet him, got a photo with him. And I said, well, I'm going to get your job when you're done. He says, well, how old are you? Turns out we were the exact same age. He says, yeah, I don't think I'm going to retire before you. He's still there, and I'm still waiting. So, but, it's just one of those. He says, if you ever want to come in, well, yes, you don't have to ask me. Just tell me. And those are the things that happen when people realize, one, you're genuine, one, you're approachable, and another thing I found out is just smile. It makes people know that you are approachable and you're not going to bite their head off. It's like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
If you have a good smile, in fact, I smile most of the time. And people just go, in fact, he had said, you have a great personality. I've been watching you perform tonight. And then you came up and you're just very polite. You didn't just barge in. And he says, and I got to sit with him during a game and just, the whole game. Like, I want to do this. Someday, maybe. I don't know.
Jay, so you're born and raised in Wisconsin. I'm a California guy, but I live in Wisconsin.
I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. And 2 weeks later, we moved away.
Okay.
So it was Memphis is where your roots, where you, okay.
Millington, Tennessee, which is, I guess, West Memphis. I've never been back. I don't know. 2 weeks after after I was born, we moved away, and never been back. And we moved. Then we went in Florida and Charleston, South Carolina. I was in Washington D.C. Was there when the Beatles hit. They played 3 blocks away from our house. We could hear them screaming.
Wow.
My mom and dad wouldn't let us go to a concert because I was 9. You're not going to those girls screaming.
Do you remember when they came on the air of the Ed Sullivan Show? I can remember my dad because at that time he was in the military and he just looked at those guys and said, what's the world going into or something? My sister was a teenager. She was freaking, my brother and I were looking at one another like, what's the big deal? But little did we know we were really looking at a part of history, a pure Americana of, they did invade, this country, the Englishmen came over here and they tore it up.
Absolutely. My dad was also in the Navy. We lived, like I said, 3 blocks away from the stadium. Right. And my mom and dad said, you're not going to go where the girls are screaming. And I said, oh, Mom, Dad. In fact, it was today in 63 that they're introducing the album, introducing the Beatles album was released. So what an auspicious thing this was. But and then they played and I wound up following the Beatles. And in fact, I did 2 shows at ABC Radio Network. One was Beatle Archives every weekend, and I did Fab Four Fridays on my Friday show. And I wound up recording I created the 5-minute montage for the opening of the Westwood One ABC broadcast of the anthology. It's called Beatles 95. And they wanted a 5-minute introduction. They came to said, you know this stuff. And I whipped it together real quick. And so that was on there. And I wound up, and let's see, see if I can see it. So I can get this up here. See that gold album right there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's an acetate. And all 4 Beatles took a pen or something, and they scratched their names into it.
Wow.
that's one of 100 they did, and that's number 90, I think they gave to me. And
Right.
and then I mean, I wrote the introduction to the Great Beetle Death Clues of 1969.
Yeah.
R. Gary Patterson out of Tennessee, and it was just all the clues and stuff, and every single year on Halloween I would do the Great Beetle Death Clues of 1969, and
Oh, wow.
people would call up going, "Oh my gosh, that's scary!" Yeah, especially when we played Revolution Number 9 backwards and describe
Right.
what's happening. You can
Oh,
hear the
Lord.
car accident and the whole story.
Oh, man.
I just find it very, very fascinating. And I have studied the Beatles so much that I literally have become a walking encyclopedia, and it drives my family crazy. I don't care, Dad. But my son's really into the Beatles and stuff. I mean,
Right.
everybody is, but not like I was. But
Wow.
I'm just rambling here. I'm sorry. You started.
That's okay.
A while ago.
I think Tom wants to ask you a question or two. It's on
The mindset for success in an ever-changing world. You know, when you sent your little bio, I don't mean to diminish what you. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, let me get that bio out for you here.
An ever-changing world. What, in radio, things change. I mean, everything changes. I mean,
everything does, yeah.
Death and change are synonymous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen. So, what, the mindset, knowing that life's going to throw curveballs, challenges, all that. What is your mindset? How do you deal with ever changing? You mentioned something in your bio about the wedding industry. That was the part of what you're still doing as well, besides the radios. Yeah, what is that about? Share with.
Well, it's like any sporting event. You got to be ready for a curveball. Wear protection, I tell you, because you never know when you're going to get it. But
Mark can relate to that.
Yeah, being an umpire, that's funny.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy, I got stories, but we can't do it out here.
I know. Yeah, I've been hit a few places I don't want to mention.
Nolan
Thank God you wear protection
those,
there. Yeah.
But yeah, you got to be you literally protection on yourself, and I mean mentally. You got to be ready for anything, and don't be surprised at anything. You can't be, especially nowadays. People throw a curve at you constantly, and you have no idea what brought this up. It's not for me to figure out what brought this up. It's up to me to think, how am I going to handle this? And like I say, in the wedding industry as well, and this is what got me real, I think, pretty well known in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's not what you can do, it's how you react to any problem. There's always something that's going to happen wrong in a wedding, or a mishap, I shouldn't say wrong. And my job is to make sure that the bride and groom have no idea ever that something happened in their reception, even though we had a monsoon storm hit as they were in the ceremony, and they walked into the reception area, and we had just mopped up over an inch of water that had busted through the roof. And they had no idea. I had a cake that literally the fondant fell off the cake 3 minutes before the bride and groom and all the guests walked in the door. And no one would touch it because it's insured and I'm not going to be liable for this. And I said, well, hang on. And I fixed the cake. And I told the caterers, I said, when we cut this, do not serve this corner. It's got my fingerprints all over it. Do not. It's not safe. But to this day, the bride.
Did you wear a mask?
Were you wearing a mask when you're doing it?
Okay, let me get no, it was just, I told the caterers, I don't want anybody to know this. I don't want the bride and groom to ever know something went wrong. What good does that serve?
Sure.
What kind of wedding do you have? Oh, it's great. And then they know that the fondant fell. The cake fell off. I mean, the front of the cake fell off. And they're going to try and bury that as long as they, are married and they talk to guests. And we're doing our 50th wedding anniversary. And they got this bookmark back in their head going, don't talk about the bad thing. Just don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But as the stories go on, finally it comes around. And by the way, the cake fell. Well, I don't want them to ever have to talk about that. So if they don't know about it, it never comes up in their dialogue. And I have I have protected the bride and groom from hundreds of them, because there's always something that happens wrong. And everything from people having a heart attack, not dying, but falling on the dance floor with a heart attack. And with the background in the fire industry, luckily I knew what to do. And so we took care of them, and it was no big deal. And we just, as much as we can, we try and at least provide the safety net for whatever situation is. If it's on radio, it's well, what happens when the equipment dies? And I tell my engineers and everybody else, don't worry, a professional, you hand me whatever equipment, I will figure out how to make my job work. It may sound crappy to us, but over the air, it's going to be fine. And nobody's going to be the wiser as to what happened. I had to jerry-rig this to get this on the air. And it's happened hundreds, thousands of times in the 50 years I've been doing this. But it's and I take that as a victory every little time. So yeah, and if you anticipate that there's going to be a possible problem, when it does, or if it does rear its ugly head, and you handle it, people are impressed. It's like, don't be impressed. I just thought it.
Right.
Oh, that's so impressive. Okay, well, then be impressed, but I won't take the credit for it. It's just, that's what we do in this industry. And I try and tell everybody how to do these things. For instance, I call it the ladder of success. You are crawling up that ladder of success. We all want to get to the top of the ladder. Well, how do you get there? Well, there are people above you on that ladder. So you're always climbing. Look to them to learn life hacks. How do I get up there without having to go back to school? What little tricks can you teach me? They teach you. Don't ever forget to turn around and reach back down that ladder for the other people that are coming up. And in all that, you take on this wonderful aura of light, because, man, he was inquisitive enough to learn from us, but then he was also nice enough to turn around and help other people. And you don't come off as being an arrogant, okay, I know everything about this industry, and you're just a peon. I mean, you just go away. You're bothering me, kid. And I have a lot of mentors and a lot of people that I mentor. And I mean, this list has always just grown. And I love the list. I signed on a brand new website or a new Facebook page last night. I started with 4 brand new people. And this morning I think it was 114. It was less than 6 hours. And they're just signing up like crazy. It's like, I didn't even advertise it. I just started it. And before I could even get it finished, they were already there. It's just,
that's neat.
People remember you for the oddest things. And I'll take it.
Hey, look at this, Jay. Kenneth Mayberry, Kenny, in Louisville. My brother-in-law is a DJ in Columbus, Ohio.
Very cool. I broadcast all over Ohio because from the ABC radio network. I was on in
Kenny, we're still waiting for our pizza from Annie's. I don't care which franchise. You can send it to us. It's okay.
And Kenny, do you guys still award records to the listeners? Yeah, I want to get a 45. I want to name it and claim it. Can I do it? Inside joke.
Oh, wow. So, hey, you brought up a great point there. You said about thinking fast on your feet and always expecting the unexpected. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes people think everything's going to go 1 + 2 + 3, and it doesn't work that way. You
never know when something's going to go wrong. You never know. Back in the day when we played vinyl on turntables,
right?
You got it queued up, little,
right. I was going to ask you about that.
And the turntable's flying, but you're holding it.
Right.
Just let it go because it's already queued up, and just let it go. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, here it comes, Tommy James and the Shondells. And I'm so excited because it's, Moni or something. And I let it go, and the stylus goes, zzz.
Oh, wow.
Excitement. Those things happen. So what do? And you got to just be ready to, like a trigger. It's just, bam, you're right back there. You pick it up, and away you go. And I learned those tricks from Wolfman Jack when I worked with him. And just listening to all the different radio announcers around America that I could listen
Tommy to. James and the Shondells. Yeah, Crimson and Clover. We're dating ourselves here. Hello.
And over.
Yeah, we're dating ourselves so much. Vinyl is like what is it?
But vinyl is coming back big time now. In fact, they're charging about $30 for an album.
Right. That's insane.
I have a whole room. Literally, I've been collecting music since I was 6 years old, vinyl and CDs, and no cassettes or 8 tracks. I have cassettes of air checks of me, but I didn't
Oh
buy
my
music
God.
yet.
Patrick, you got to stop. You got to stop, Patrick. We're
Name
going to
that
go
tune,
to.
okay?
Oh my.
That's my favorite thing. Let's talk music.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh.
I've always loved vinyl. I'm happy to see it coming back because people, I mean, there's always been the debate about the quality of music and stuff, but
Sure.
vinyl has this warm, clean sound. One of the best vinyl vinyl albums, that's a redundant statement. Vinyl pieces of music came from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And that was a Gratitude album, I believe it was. That's the Way of the World. They did,
Right.
September and Let's
Sure.
Do It. That album, I would test all my stereo equipment. I buy brand new stereo equipment. I had to play that album because it was recorded phenomenally. The highs were there, the lows were perfect, and then the first time I heard Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band on a CD with headphones, and you could hear the air in the room, I
Sure.
was blown away. You listen to the very end of A Day in the Life, and they got that big crescendo end, and it just keeps ringing out, and it dies down, and then finally you can just hear the air in the studio, and then you can hear the air conditioner. You turn up your stereo loud, and you can hear all that stuff. They kept that all in there,
Right.
and because it was just they were just so good about capturing good quality sound because they knew what they were going to capture. They knew that they had something special.
Look at Patrick. John Ellison, who wrote Some Kind of Wonderful, signed my guitar.
Yes, he did.
Patrick.
Good stuff. And who else played that, Patrick?
He'll probably come back.
Besides Grand Funk Railroad. No, but we won't do it.
We should probably message Charles Coachman. Yeah, he's our San Jose guy.
Charles. I'm going to be on his show pretty soon too.
He should come on here from the West Coast. I need to. I do have to ask you, do you think the music in like the 70s and 80s, as far as live entertainment bands, you know all the bands that were out there. Do you think we'll ever have something like that again? I mean, there are good artists today, but those groups that you saw live, which I've seen a few in my day, they were excellent, even live. They weren't.
No question. They honed the instruments. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Right.
They you all but live together, since you know how each other reacts. That's a good sign of a really good band when they can react. And somebody says like that, and everybody in the band knows. Okay, we're going to go to the bridge here or something. Floor off the edge. And this golly. We were so lucky to be alive in the late 60s, 70s, to witness Jimi Hendrix play.
Yes.
And at that moment, what are we watching here? Oh my gosh. And then like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band came out on a Friday. And Sunday, Jimi Hendrix was in a club playing that. He opened his show with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Blew the Beatles away. 2 days later, they're playing it. But yeah, it's. I think that things are too. And I don't want to get enemies here, but I think things are too produced now. Computerization, technology is wonderful, and I always say they make technology for a reason. Use it, but I sure miss the artists feeling their heartbeat in their music. Because it's all produced by, producers, and then you just come in and you can sing off key because we've got, auto tune now for you.
There's hope for me then to sing, right?
There's absolutely hope for you. I've been meaning to tell you that. You ever heard of Tiny Tim? Never mind.
Oh my.
I'll take that as a compliment because I do not sing at all. So I'd go that route in a heartbeat.
I always say I sing sadly. You want to hear any song, I can sing it, but I can sing it sadly for you. So I can't sing very well. Always in church and stuff, they say, "Come on, sing. We like your voice, and we know you can sing." Well, I don't use that as my claim to fame. I just know that what I do for a living is what I do, and I love to sing in church. But no, that's not my claim to fame by far.
Right.
You want the secret sauce, don't you, Tom?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something: climbing the ladder, learning the ropes, hacking, asking for the help up, whatever it takes. And many people are afraid to reach up and ask.
They really are.
That's what people are willing to reach and help, but you got to ask. You got to take some.
You really do. Don't expect someone just to walk up and say, "Hey, Tom, I think you would be a great radio announcer. I just like your voice, and so I want to teach you exactly how to do that." No, I got enough stuff on my plate. And besides that, I got a family and I'm a grandfather now, and I've got a side business that I'm doing, a very successful wedding DJ thing. And so my time is really really taken up. And so I don't automatically walk out and look for people. But if they ask me, and again, the secret sauce is smile. Always wear a smile. And people, why are you always smiling? I love life. And if you got a problem with it, I'll try, but I'm going to still smile because that's who I am. And having a simple smile says to other people, I'm approachable. Come on, come ask me. I don't care. Right. Oh, you're a big star. To me, I'm not. I'm this kid who wanted to be in the radio. I wanted to be a DJ, and I happened to make it. And then God made sure that I made it, and I'm, major market, and then I make it to 2 full networks. I was the ABC Radio Network on 588 stations around the world. I talk to the troops in Afghanistan every day. I have a stack of flags over here that they would send me from Afghanistan saying, this was flown over Afghanistan. You were part of home for us.
That's neat. That's really
I
neat.
was so touched by that. And I have become very, very close friends with a lot of military. And then I'm with Westwood One, and it's not the same thing, but I have that same reach. And I love the fact that I've been afforded that. I can get out via that magic thing. And they wake up in the morning and they hear my voice, and if I'm not there, it throws their world off because you grandfather into it. It's like, no, I'm the voice you're waking up to. Don't be switching over now. And I always try and make sure I'm talking to one person on the radio. I know that I may be talking to 4 million people at any given time, but if I'm talking to one person, I say you instead of everybody. Okay, anybody that's in Wisconsin, Tom, I'm not talking to you. It's a kind of a generic statement that it's worthless. But if I say, if you are planning on playing baseball this spring, you might want to blah, 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 whatever, and it's just you, and you use the word you talk direct to anybody in anything. And you're in a big group of, you're talking to a whole group of people. You don't say, okay, anybody in here, does everybody want to do this? It's like, would you like to do this? Because it makes it personable. And people say, yes, I would like to do it. They won't answer you, yes, we would like to collectively do this. I haven't talked to anybody, but we're going to pass around a pad of paper and agree. No, would you like to do this? And the hands will show up. Yep, I'll do that. And you get people to not volunteer, but they'll cooperate with whatever it is you want. And that's one of the big secrets, is just being direct and treating people respectfully and as if they are worth something. It's like, okay, look, I don't like the way you're sitting in that chair, but I'll talk to you, okay? Well, that certainly felt good,
You said a couple things that are very deep, and I just want to hope people pick it up. No matter what career, avocation, relationships you're in, what you said, the smile is so important. Yep. Number 2 is that you're addressing people on a one-on-one basis. Because me being a personal development coach, I understand the psyche that goes on. Do you see me? Do you hear me? And do you care? That's Maslow. And when you can address people, that's a skill that goes a long ways. That's a secret. I call it a secret sauce. And when you said that without using my terminology, but that's what I picked up. So,
well, I picked up your notes, and that's why I was cheating. It's over here.
You can read the script now. Okay, where are I?
No, hey, I'll bring you in here. This is a question now. Patrick asked this question. Which music artist, Jay, was the worst to interview and why?
Wow.
Do you mind sharing that? I don't, or that's
The
kind of
worst. I try not to be negative about it.
right. Or I should say maybe somewhat difficult, you know?
Not necessarily music. I'm trying to think. I try not to remember the bad ones.
Okay.
Um,
Well, did you have someone that might have been arrogant or just aloof, or I'm sure there were a few.
yeah, yeah. One very well-known quarterback in the NFL.
Wow,
Turned
here we
and
go.
I walked away from him. I thought, dude, I'm sorry. One particular comedian from 70s, I'll just say Dynamite.
Wow,
The rudest
wow.
person I've ever spoke to.
Really?
And he was very racist to me because I was a little bit too fair-skinned. And it's like, dude, come on. But no, generally everybody just, I have become very close friends with a lot of stars because
Hmm.
out of respect. I don't treat them like they're a star. They want
Sure.
to be treated like, it's like if I would say, Tom, gosh, I think what you're wearing is a cool jacket there. And I think you're just such a stylish dresser and you're always well groomed. And so what's that mean? What does that mean? And that's not real, you know? But if I just am talking about interests, your interests and mine, and we find that bridge of interests, suddenly you connect. Gladys Knight walked into the studio at ABC, name dropper here, and opened the door and says, Jay, how long's it been? And I said, 20 years? And you remember me? Glenn Morshower is the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's
24
another.
and all that. We have known each other for years, and he remembers things about me that I can't remember about me. But those are the things that make you approachable and real to your fans. You say, hey, look, I'm just like you. The old put on a.
Okay, we got another question.
Yes,
Prince
yes,
or
yes, and yes.
How was Prince?
About that tall.
No.
I went to First Avenue in Minneapolis. I was in La Crosse,
Mhm.
Wisconsin at the time, and La Crosse, Wisconsin. Hey,
Yeah.
go ahead. And I went to Minneapolis. To do a big a record thing, I believe, with his record company. I can't remember what it was. We walked in, and he was there. Sheila E., whom I've now been in contact with several times over my career. They were all there, and it wasn't this arrogance.
Right.
He was just the nicest guy, genuine person, soft-spoken. The talent just oozed from him, and you just kind of go, golly, if I just had that much talent.
Right. Miles Davis claimed he was a genius musically.
Yes. Aretha Franklin, a very good friend of mine, told me, don't ever say Queen of Soul to her. She hates that phrase. And Mark Farner, I went on stage with Mark Farner and Grand Funk Railroad. They just did a concert maybe about 10 years ago at the Texas State Fair. And I went back to interview them, and I was looking for, I'd show it to you. I got all the pictures of they autographed that for me. And I said, okay, where are you going? I said, I'm heading out to watch the show. They go, no, you're not. And they pull a chair, and I'm on the side of the stage, sitting right next to Mark Farner and Don Brewer, Mel Shaker and stuff, and they were playing to me and the audience, but they made me feel like a king. And it's like so much respect. And I love Grand Funk Railroad, always have. Their music, I think was underrated by a lot of people. I mean, our age, we loved them, couldn't get enough of them, but nobody else has got like, man, they just deserve so much more respect. And Mark Farner, then he went to Christian music. Nice guy, real nice guy. I could just go on and on. Luther Vandross, who was a wonderful guy. Janet Jackson, I worked with to set up a big promotion in Dallas. I walked into a radio station. At this time, I was known for my promotions at the radio stations that would get national attention. And I walked into the station. I said, I would really like to work here. And he says, well, if you'll teach me how you get into all the trade magazines a minimum of 3 times every single week, how do you do that? I'll give you a job. I said, you hire me and then I'll teach you. He hired me, and I told him within the first 20 minutes, this is how you do it. It's pretty simple. And then I worked with Janet Jackson. That was the first thing. The promotions director had promised hundreds of tickets to her concerts. Where are you going to come up with these things? And I had a connection through the record label. And I said, she was, repositioned and I took over the promotions. And I said, we're going to do the Wheel of Jackson. So Wheel of Fortune was real big at the time. We got that sound.
Right.
It's all sound effects. And so we had this game of imagery on the radio, and the listener would push a touch tone button on their not cell phone, but on their, desktop model, and and that would spin the wheel, and it would wind up at any particular state that she was about to play in the nation. We would fly them and a date to that place, put them up, and then be on the front row of every one of these concerts, every one of them. And when she finally got to Dallas, then she got me backstage. We were all, getting pictures and stuff with her. And then that's when I also indirectly then I got to meet Michael and talk with him too. And I got a bunch of stuff from him after the Thriller album. I got a pewter. It's up
neat.
On there. Pewter statuette of his head as a thank you. And then when the Bad album came out, I was one of the first people in the industry to say, this one's going to be huge. And the first slow song was Saida Garrett and Michael Jackson. I Just Can't Stop Loving You. Oh, that'll never be a number one hit. First number one hit off that album. Predicted it. And then so a lot of accolades came that way. He knows what he's doing. And so I can't believe I turned down the opportunity to play baseball. Oh, yes.
With the Eagles.
With the Eagles.
Back in 78 when they played the Commonwealth games in Edmonton. So.
Yeah. Speaking of the Eagles, I went to Don Henley's birthday party here in town.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was great. But name dropper.
Oh, my God.
You got my mind going in every direction here.
Well, I do have to ask this. We'll come back. They often have said that the moon landing is fake and professional wrestling is real.
I was also professional. I was the ring announcer.
You announced, a little bit. So what was that like?
World Wrestling Federation. Tito
Yes.
Santana used to come in. He loved it when they would come into town because our daughter was really young and he missed his kids that were back at home. And he would say, bring your daughter. And we'd bring her back there. He would play with her. And Andre the Giant and I became very, very good cribbage players. He would come back, cribbage, and we would sit in the locker room, the dressing rooms, and on the bench, and we would play cribbage all night. And then I'd go out, I'd ring announce, and I'd come back. That was a fun and sometimes terrible job. It's people would take chewing tobacco in baggies and then throw it, and right there it hit me.
Oh, wow.
It was, but the guys were so good, and they were there for the show, just like it's absolutely real. But it,
I mean, you have to be a good athlete and in shape to do that. I mean,
oh yeah,
what they
John
do.
Cena, when he came around, and, he was in shape, and I said, "Man, you're going to make it because you're taking care of yourself."
Right.
Little wimpy little me, 5'6" and 5'7", I guess now. I grew up, right. But he's like way up there, and that's the connection you don't talk about. Oh, I think you're a star, and you ought to be in a movie because I want to come see you all the time. No, I appreciate the God-given talent, and that's his strength, his looks. I would love Bruce Willis the same way, and they just were down-to-earth people.
Right.
And,
hey, Jay, I got a request.
Okay. I can play that in about 20 minutes.
What was the wrestling? What's that called? That federation? Wrestling what?
It was World Wrestling Federation at that time.
WWF.
Okay. Did you do the announcement?
Ladies and gentlemen, in this ring, we got blah 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 blah. Yeah, and then
I was going to ask you, can you give us an announcement?
A cage match, a death match, or
it's been so long since I did that. And coming out of you have to give me a script. But Andre the Giant would come in, and when they tell me that he was on the ticket, they'd say Andre's on the giant. He's on the ticket with you. Well, the guy is gigantic.
He's huge. Yeah,
I'm a little guy, so I would deliberately go out and buy oversized tuxedo. I would rent tuxedo pants that were too big for me, and then I would put them on, and I would squat down so I'm a little bit shorter, and then
Oh Lord, no, you
And
didn't.
then he would come out and he'd stomp, and I would way up in the air, like that. And so it made it look like he was all the stronger. And then I won't say, but they would slip me some. They would say, "How's Christmas for the family this year?" Well, it's a little tight. Well, we can take care of that tonight. Anytime they would touch me, there's $100 cash in my pocket. And they fell in love with my daughter and my wife and me. We became very, good people around them, and they loved us. And one Christmas, I walked out with a chunk of change. I'll just say they picked me up, they threw me outside the ring, and they taught me all how to do this. Jake the snake came up and put the snake around my neck.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
He's going back now, man.
Make the bad man stop. I don't care for snakes. And then they would just tap me or they push me, or they were very dramatic. We'd all be very, bam. And I'm not giving out secrets. I'm sorry. I would not overact. Okay.
Right.
This is just what we did. And I loved payday when I went to work with them on those certain days. It's not all the time, but they paid well. But on those days, especially during the holidays, they took care of the people that would come in and support them. And I love doing that. Any other things about secrets you guys know about me that I didn't know?
Yeah, I got another question for you. Coming from, you've all these people that have, that are icons in their own right, and they're geniuses in their field and influence our culture and all that. Of all the people you've met, what would be the one or two people that influenced you, not just in your career, but something about them or what they taught you that shifted your thinking or had a great impact on you? Because I think people need to hear when people make an impact. Do you have any story or any one particular?
Can I barge in front of the camera and I grab your picture and I'll show you who it was? Is that
Sure.
Okay? I don't mean to be rude, but
No, that's fine.
Just look at the stripes here. I can't even get this off. Well, there it is. I did not expect this at all to happen, but this gentleman changed me.
Oh wow.
Alice Cooper.
Oh wow.
Unexpected, because the very first concert I saw of his was when he was doing hang on, Patrick, don't forget this one. Okay, I want to talk about Earth, Wind, and Fire. But I went to see after I'm 18 came out, and on the radio, I don't know, I'm a young kid. I think her song is great. Alice, she's got a great song. Low voice, but she's got a great song. We sat on the front row, not knowing it was theatrical rock. Lights went down. He comes up and he's got this gigantic spear and he's swinging it. And as front row, and to me, that thing was like this, right?
Close by.
It wasn't, but it shocked me. Literally, his shock rock was perfect because he was very theatrical in what he did. But then I found out his heart was. He's a son of a minister and he's very spiritual, and he was very impactful. It's like no matter what you do, that is not you. Find out who you are, why you're here. Go with the blessings that you have, but don't buy the hype. That is exactly. Don't buy your own publicity.
Right.
He's selling it there. I'm shock rock and blah 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 blah. Let's see, Ozzy Osbourne. Let's chew off heads of bats. Well, that was a mistake, but he sure made money off of that thing when it happened. And I've always learned that yes, you can do stunts, you can promote yourself, but don't believe the hype. Never believe your own press. You can sell yourself that way to sell an image.
Right.
Don't live there.
Don't read those press clippings
right. And he was the one who just made me realize you be you, except when the spotlight goes on and then, hey, showbiz, it's showtime. And that's what radio shows are all about. That's what stages are all about. Steppenwolf, yes. John Kay and Steppenwolf. Interviewed him and became very good friends of him. When I knew things about him, he had no idea anybody knew. And he says, you did homework. And we became friends and he sent me all these autographed albums and stuff, and promoted my show nationally for me. So great people are within the business. We're all entertainers. We're all there for the exact same thing. And that's just it. It's not dig me, but dig the talent I've been given. Macho Man Randy Savage. I see that there. Oh, yeah. Slap me to a Slim Jim. Yeah, he was a great guy, too. Great. I go WWE, man. WWE.
Right.
Blue Man Group, I knew. Let's see, Leonard Cohen. Oh, man. Yeah, that's the thing is, and I'm not trying to say, hey, I know everybody. But in this industry, you kind of walk into everybody. You go to conventions and look who's here. The Righteous Brothers are standing right there. Paula Abdul, I played. I've got a gold album. I played 5 singles off of her album. We believed we were doing what was called a Churban station, CHR, Contemporary Hit Radio, with urban. So it's dance radio, and it's just stuff with beats. And we jumped on the Paula Abdul Forever Your Girl album, one of the first in the nation, and we were on the 4th or 5th single before radio even picked up on them. And we became very close friends. And she would send me 10 or 15 posters to give away on the air. Like, okay, we got to stop this. This is getting old in our city, But they are there to help. Because when you realize someone's helping you, you just turn around and be kind and help them with something they could benefit from. And it helps you both. It's not like dig me. It's like, let's dig you and show that you have this connection. You know me. And it's afforded that when you're polite to people. We're just all over the place tonight, aren't we?
No, that's great. This is good stuff.
But we're not all over the place. You're.
Am I following your lead? That's the thing.
Oh yeah, no, you're
You're
good.
putting, you're talking my language, my friend.
Good.
So you're, the whole purpose of this whole program is take wisdom.
Yep.
And put it to work.
The secret sauce. Everybody's got secret sauce. Everybody has a life hack.
Right.
And if you can just sit down with somebody, get them comfortable and say, what do you know about that I don't? Just open it. And they'll come up with something. I can tie a tie like that, but you can also do it this way and do this. And it's like, really? I never knew that, Dale Carnegie, yes. Hello, Mr.
Dale Carnegie, I love that. All right, Robert.
We all know some Dale Carnegie, boy. I tell you, that's when I was young and I knew I wanted to be in radio and stuff. I thought, people in radio are friendly. I better make sure I'm friendly. Well, it turns out that's like basically who I am. And then I started doing, the Dale Carnegies and all these other things to try and learn how I can effectively take what's inside of me and bring it out. Because I think I know. And my daughter's trying to FaceTime me here. But and you try and bring that stuff out without looking arrogant. It's just, no, I want to nurture my gift without coming off as, with arrogance. I know what I'm doing, because I don't. Nobody really knows what they're doing. We fake it till we make it. And some of us just happen to make it.
Hey, Mark, is that what we're doing here with the live stream? We're faking till we make it.
Right. Hey, I just want to share. This was the mantra for Charles Manson, according to BFG3, Benjamin Gay.
Mm-hmm.
The third, when we talked to him, he said that Manson read that book and studied it. So imagine that. Yeah.
You reminded me, I went to Chicago to go through the EST seminar. Remember those? That thing?
Yeah.
Let's get inside your head. Let's remember what you were like when you were born. And it takes you back. It's like, man, I actually think I experienced when I was born.
Right.
And I came home, my mom and my dad and my sister says, you were brainwashed. No, my brain was polished is what it was.
Yeah.
And I have taken so much of that with me. You don't go into those things thinking, okay, I'm just going to, I'm going to learn everything at this weekend getaway. And no, it's when you go home and then it starts to just ferment. You go, I remember they said this. And you take that throughout life. You never know what is going to come up, but it all comes. Hang on a second. I got to bump her. She's just insistent.
She's being insistent.
I think the grand angels want to talk to Baba.
Yeah. Patrick asked another question here. Did you ever meet the Ohio players?
Oh, Ohio players. No, I
Remember-
wish I had. Oh my gosh, they were so
And
good.
he said, "Do you remember how big Skin Tight was back
You want to
then?"
see the
Yeah.
album? Yes, all their albums. I collected all of them. I had to hide them from my mom because she was like, "What is this?"
Yes.
They're very well done. With the great photography.
Yes.
I met with Cool the Gang. I mean, golly, there's so many. One of my first concerts was James Brown. Then I saw Fifth Dimension. Oh, there's just
Wow.
and there's been so many. I was there the day that Bon Jovi went from being the opening act to headliners in the nation. We did an autograph party with them in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in a jewelry store of all places. Let's bring all
Right.
these people into a jewelry store and have
Gino Vanelli.
You
How
know,
about?
Vanelli. Oh man, it's a great Canadian, good music. There's not too
Yeah.
much music I don't love.
I knew that's why Patrick. I was waiting, so he threw one
It
up.
was
He
coming
threw up a
back.
Canadian. Yeah. So,
We could talk all night about all these things. But yeah, it's just been such a blessing. And it's not like, oh, dig me. I know all these people. My wife told me, she says, look, you're gonna have to write your own eulogy because I have no idea all the people you've met in 50 years of this.
your wife said this to you? Is
Yeah.
it?
I said, what are you gonna say about me when I'm gone? Because I'm older than you. And
She's probably going to take a notepad one day and start.
yeah. And so I started typing on the computer 3 columns. I'm on my 6th page now of the people that I've met. I've met
Wow.
everybody from President Kennedy. I met him 2 weeks
Wow.
before he was assassinated on
Really?
my birthday. So I hated my birthday for 10 years. Gosh, him. And I've met, some major superstars and TV stars. It doesn't make me any better. It just makes me, I feel blessed to be in this skin because I've been put in the right places. I've met Kevin Costner and George Lucas and
Wow.
What's his name? The young kid. He was Frodo. He was Gomez Adams' son. Everybody's yelling at me.
Pugsley? You mean Pugsley? The guy?
No,
that
not
played-
Pugsley. No. His real son
Oh.
is Frodo. He was also in the war with. You catch me here. I get up at 2:00 in the morning to do my radio show. I'm getting old.
Yeah, he said, "Old man." Okay, Patrick.
But Kevin Costner and he were in the movie The War, which to me, if you guys have never seen The War with Kevin Costner and Elijah Wood, get it. It's a father-son movie. You know how much you cry in A Field of Dreams?
Right.
Get out Kleenex, your double thing of Kleenex, because this is a father-son movie, and it came out right when nobody ever know what kind of chocolate you're going to get. Mom always said, Forrest Gump. When Forrest Gump was huge and the Santa Claus were huge, then the war got buried. Go find this movie. I watch it 2 to 3 times a year. It makes me love my dad and love my son.
It's called
so
The War.
much.
Is that
The War?
Okay.
Absolutely worth every second. You've got to go see this thing. It was a flop of a movie. No, it's not. It just was buried because publicity took over, and it was Forrest Gump. Everything's Forrest Gump, and I hated Forrest Gump because it buried my favorite movie. It's like I don't want to see that movie ever again.
Right.
And Tom Hanks, I think the world of, but not in this one.
Well, I tell you what, Patrick is throwing us.
He's just keeps coming and coming.
We
Look at
got
this needle and the damage done.
Thank you, Neil Young. You're right.
I appreciate it, Patrick.
I love talking music trivia. That is my favorite
Right.
hobby in the world. No one will play music trivia with me at all. No one will play
I
Trivial
don't
Pursuit.
think.
It's like,
Yeah.
But that's my favorite thing to do.
You should go on that show. Name that tune when it was.
I want to go on Shazam.
Okay.
Is it Shazam? Yeah. In fact, many times I sat at home and did that, and it came real close to beating them all. But it's not how great I am. It's just I'm pretty lucky, and
Wow.
this is what I've been vaccinated with is music trivia. I don't know anything else to help tell me to put a car together. Forget it. My wife can do it. She worked automotive. I was a DJ.
The Letter and Heart of Gold at my high school talent show.
The Letter from the Box Tops and Heart of Gold. Yeah. From Neil Young.
Did you ever interview, he asked, Deep Purple?
Yes.
Oh, wow. You did?
Major fan of Deep Purple's. You
Yeah.
bet. Yeah. My woman from Tokyo.
Oh, God.
Smoke on the water. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Patrick's on a roll.
Patrick, you and I are going to go to lunch for about 4 hours.
Did you interview
Mountain? Yes.
Oh,
Leslie
man.
West,
He's pulling out the hardcore rock.
Cactus. Loved Cactus.
Oh,
but
man.
I got to ask you a question on interviews. Some of the legends of the past, the Frank Sinatras, the Bing Crosbys, did you ever have an opportunity to interview those people or engage with?
No, I sure wish I did. I did Johnny Mathis. I did Tony Bennett, whom I
oh wow, Tony Bennett, yeah.
I just the Letterman. I remember introducing the Letterman on stage, and the setup back in those days were like, just get all the equipment out here and put the microphones down, and there were cords all over the stage.
Whole place, yeah.
And I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Letterman. I turn around and my feet caught into the things. I went flat down on my face in front of everybody. I tripped on all the cords.
Wow.
And it was one of those, man, that's the most humiliating thing. But it's a memory I have.
And a memory for a lot of other people, too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. Who was that DJ, that little kid? And, it's Mississippi Queen, baby, yeah.
Oh, my God. He's full of
Celine Dion, yes. Mariah Carey. Little Richard, I spent time with. Mariah and Little Richard, two biggest heads in the world, I swear. I got a big noggin, they got a bigger one, both of them. And Little Richard, when I sat with him at the grand opening of the Georgia Music Hall of Fame, sat in a room with him for almost an hour. We just talked and talked and talked. And I finally turned to him and said, you don't ever have to say, I am the creator of rock and roll. I said, you don't ever have to prove that to me. I can prove it to you. Who was the one that did, like Long Tall Sally that the Beatles copied? Who was the one that all of his music, Pat Boone turned into hits?
Right.
I use that term loosely, but it was just Little Richard deserved every bit of credit for creating the rock and roll, the entire formatic of rock and roll. And he did not get that respect until after he had passed. And when I told him that, we had such a good time. And then my first concert in America was James Brown.
Really?
He and I would connect. Little Richard would, and he called me up from his hotel room, which he was living in LA. And he would call me on the radio and say, just felt like I needed to talk to you. It's like, okay. And when you treat people with respect and you realize that the things that that they're saying, you don't question it. You say, okay, I will believe it until you prove me wrong, and I will find out if it's right or not. And when I found out that there was no question about it, and I was one of the, I don't know how many hundreds, maybe thousands of people that really did believe that he was the creator, the instigator of rock and roll.
Right.
I was the architect of rock and roll. Yes, you were, sir, and I got nothing but respect. Thank you, because I love the Beatles.
Right.
Thank you, because Chuck Berry brought the lyrics to life. It was Little Richard created it. Chuck Berry brought the lyrics to America. The Beatles brought England and the rest of the world to rock and roll.
Sure.
Because they all copied Little Richard. And Little Richard taught Paul McCartney how to scream so Paul would not destroy his voice. And I have Little Richard. I wished I even thought we were going to do this. I've got it all on tape. Little Richard's explaining, I taught him how to do that. And then I talked with Paul McCartney, and he says, oh, yeah. He taught me to do, and they sound exactly alike. And I play them together. I'm also the only person I believe in the world that has Paul McCartney on tape saying, we used to make it a game in the Beatles days of putting clues in our music.
Really?
They always denied it because of Charles Manson. If they had said, yeah, we had clues, we deliberately put clues in our music, it gave credibility to him. They're suddenly, they're part of that whole thing. And
right.
it could be charged with it somehow. I don't know, but they were afraid of that. Finally, it came out, and I'm the only one who's got it on tape. And
wow, so they did do it. Yeah.
Oh, you bet they did. You bet they did. And that's where I wrote that book, The Great Beatle Death Clues, of 1969, with R. Gary Patterson, and it sold very, very well. And it lists 750 clues that are on their albums, that are in their movies,
right?
Just all this stuff. And
Shake It Up, Baby. Did you ever interview Katie Lang?
No, I never interviewed Katie Lang. No.
I've got one. Elvis Presley. Any interaction with Elvis?
Did you?
No, no interaction with Elvis. That would have been lovely, but no. I was a little kid when he was really popular. I appreciated music, but man, I was all Beatles, Dave Clark 5,
right?
The English, the British invasion, and then all of everything from the Guess Who out of Canada. I interviewed Burton Cummings 100 times. Not Burton Cummings, but, I'm sorry, Randy Bachman. And great interviews with him. And so it's all the invasion stuff. I just love when they brought the music to America, and I just I swam in it. I still do. I literally have, like I said, 780,000 songs in my collection.
Wow.
And I said, I don't want to die before I hear every single song that's ever been made, which is impossible nowadays. I got onto
I'm a big ZZ Top guy.
Oh, yeah. Little band from Texas. Yeah. Many times I met them. Yeah.
Have you interacted with them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I love them.
They were great. They are great. Yeah. But Dusty, I said, what a loss. What a loss.
Yeah, right.
How. Grange there. Yeah. And, great music. Great. And they were so good in the blues. So good. And they put rock and blues together. And then they brought in the light shows, and they'd have the dice and the figures of women that would, through lighting, laser lights would crawl across the roof above the audience. I mean, they were just phenomenal, the things that they would do. And a 3-man group like that had that powerful, powerful song that they could produce.
I saw a show of theirs that was absolutely phenomenal in California at the Calaveras Fairgrounds. There was a big valley. The stage was on one side. The audience was on the hillside on the other side. And they did something I've never seen ever before. 3 biplanes. You could see them coming off, and they came and flew right down and right in between this valley, right in front of the stage with the smoke and everything.
Smoke, yeah.
And then the next thing, 4 or 5 parachuters land right on stage. I mean, and then they came out. Boom.
That's insane.
I love. And not only you're great with your music and your lyrics and blah blah blah, and you probably look good and you dress cool, but it was the creativity that they bring to the stage and envelop the audience into. And that's what we do in radio, what anybody does in performance, and I think what you do in business is you walk into whatever situation is, and the first project in your mind is to pull. My job is to pull you out of your world and into mine, and I'm going to figure out exactly how to do that. And they would do that just miraculously. And we would do that when I was with the fire department. Then I was one of these education clowns. We would go to the elementary schools, and we were like grown-up cartoons. And so the kids would just believe everything that we were doing, and we would teach them fire safety, but we were in character. And I always tell people, the one thing we want to do is before they even come into the auditorium for the play, we've got ambiance in the hallways to the school. And they're going, why are we hearing railroad music? And they walk in, there's this gigantic train on the stage that we built. And there's and so we would do all those things. But it was always pull them into your world and then they will listen to you. If you just come at them with a hard sell, look, you just got to buy from me today because the boss is going to cut my throat if I don't. That's not going to sell anything. But if you say, hey, look, I understand you like those big beanbag chairs, right? Yeah, let's sit in some of those. And so we get real comfortable, and then we just start talking about whomever. I have to bring up their life. And next thing you know, then we get into the business. Well, by this time, they're relaxed. They know that you're not going to come with this hard sell, and they're more open, and they're willing to hear your message. And if you say your message right, you don't have to oversell. You don't have to try hard. Try too hard, you lose. But you do it just right, and they're open to it, and they're the ones who are going to trigger and go, I'm not going to say I'm going to buy it right now, but I'm definitely interested in hearing more about this. Bam. And, that's it. Just when I do weddings, I don't let the bride and groom just automatically hire me. I mean, why are you choosing me? Okay. Let's talk about that. What exactly do you think I can bring to your wedding that you're not expecting, or perhaps that I can bring to you that you've never thought of? And then I'll say, the first thing you need to do, have you stopped even in your mind, what are you picturing your reception is going to be like? I mean, verbatim, what's going to happen? What does it look like? What colors are on the walls? What kind of flowers? What kind of music do you want? And I make them go through an actual wedding reception. They've never done it. I don't want their very first time to be an absolute disaster for them. Again, I'm going to hide all that stuff. And so I literally will educate them on how to hire wedding vendors, because their typical question is, yeah, how much do you cost? I want you to be a DJ at my wedding. Well, what kind of DJ would you like? If you want someone who knows how to motivate your crowd, how to touch the heartstrings of every person in that room, when your guests leave, 99% of them are going to say, that's the best wedding I've ever been to. Why? Because I have people say, Jay is like the conductor of an orchestra. All the elements of the wedding, he is in charge of. Yeah, you have a wedding planner, but people will go to a wedding, and what's the two things they talk about afterwards? Hey, did you go to the wedding? Yeah, Julie's wedding. Well, what it was like? Well, the DJ sucked, but the food was pretty good. Or the DJ was great, but the food stuck. It's like, those are the first two things they always talk about. And so I always make sure that let's talk about everything what kind of impression do you want? And so we make sure that when they leave, I take the entire wedding party through emotions. Like when you go to a really good movie and you come out and you go, man, we got to own that thing when it comes out. Well, I had a good plot. Well, the bride and groom in this case are the plot. It has a great soundtrack. I'll be that. And then they laughed, they cried. There's a moment of drama. There's all these emotions that you go through in a movie. So when you leave, you are emotionally fulfilled. I want to own that movie when it comes out. And then when you finally use it, they go, why did we ever buy this? It was so good. But I literally will do that. And I will tell the bride and groom, this is what I'm going to do. There are no surprises to you. You make my surprises work by not telling anybody what's going to happen. And then what we do is we take everybody through emotions throughout the night. And they don't know why, but they leave there. That's the best wedding I have ever been to.
Jay, you're saying something with relationship to business. It's what you just said is so profound. Is that
that's all I ever say.
Well,
enough about me. What do you think about me now?
But is you providing that experience?
The experience, yes.
The experience. And a lot of businesses don't provide an experience for their customer, their salespeople, or whatever. And that, I think, is a critical element for part of the secret sauce.
They're one and done. I'll sell you the product. I'm out. Goodbye. Next. No.
Right.
You come to me, and I'm going to make sure that you and I connect on the intangible basis. You and I are going to connect mentally, emotionally, and then when you leave, I want you to remember me. Exactly. Not to dig me. It's just, remember that DJ? Remember his name, because man, what he did with us, he had us loving going out there and doing, limbo. I don't do that. It's been years since we played limbo at a wedding, but something like that. It's like, we don't do that kind of stuff. I did a 80-year-old party for a gentleman. The guy was just nuts. He was so much fun. And I had to play Crocodile Rock. So they did a crocodile dance. And little did I know, here's these elderly people. And just as Elton John goes, wow, like that, they all hit the floor and they start flopping.
Oh, no, they did. Yeah, they did.
It made for great photographs. But if nothing else, it made for unbelievable ice breaking. They were all laughing together. And I couldn't do as well as they did. But they did it on their own. Didn't know what catapulted them, except I played the song that I knew would take them to one particular dance, Crocodile Rock. And you remember when you were young. And that's what I do. The emotions around music, people all, no matter what you've been through, you can probably equate it to a song when you were younger.
Right.
I'll never forget listening to Leader of the Pack, and I wanted to be on that motorcycle. Oh my gosh. I wanted her to love me because I'm on the motor. And I just own that image. And in all the different songs, the seasons in the song, it doesn't matter. But you can have all these storylines and own them in your own way. And you literally will connect with all your guests because of the same thing. Because you all are emotionally invested in all of these songs that we grew up with. And I think Prince's version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps is phenomenal. I think he almost outdid George Harrison. Speaking of which, I have George Harrison gave me a guitar. It's right over here. When he was at Traveling Wilburys, and he gave me.
Oh, really? Wow.
Enough about me. What do you think about me? I don't mean to be bragging. It's just you want to know this. It's Smokey. I have many times been with Smokey Robinson. I love my life. I love having these opportunities to be able to do stuff like this. And you never know when the magic's going to happen. I don't plan for it. It just happens. You open your heart, you listen to your maker, and
give it your best.
Right.
Give it your best.
You honor the gift that you've received, and that honors our God. God in turn honors you by giving you more and opening doors for you. I knew what I loved. I know you talk about passion. This is what I do for a living. This is what I do for a living, not just a job. I've always listened to music. I've always appreciated it. I've always tried to figure out how I can use this for whatever the situation. We have parties, and it's like, Jay, you got to bring the soundtrack. I'd be happy to. And I touch people. We're doing a barbecue in our side lot here, and people are emotionally involved with the speakers at the house. Why? Mm-hmm. You're playing my music. Oh, how did I know that? And you give me your age, and I can tell you songs you grew up with and ones that'll touch you, because we all have a section in our life where we were influenced by music. And that's the most impressionable time. You're going to remember from the time you're 12 to 21. That music is your music, and you will absolutely tie memories. Yeah, I can remember eating a bologna sandwich while listening to James Taylor. I don't know, I just made that up. But and you will always remember those little things. That's the emotional investment. And my job is I find those little things when I'm talking to somebody. I'm listening for the little key points. And I'm not spying on anything. I'm just open to your discussion. I'm listening to what your dialogue is. And I'm going to remember that when you said, Leslie Weston Mountain, golly, Mississippi Queen, cowbell, baby, and just little subtleties about that song I'm going to bring in, and it's going to click something with you. And I know that's going to happen because that's how we react. And that's why music is a mainstay in our lives. And I think that as long as I'm aware of that, I keep bringing it to people. I'm a firm believer that music is a healer. I go to senior centers around Dallas, there's hundreds of these. And I will go to senior centers and I will find out the average ages of the majority of those people. and I'll put together mixtapes. Sweetie, I brought you mixtape. Remember those? All these songs are for you, gang. And they will beg me to come back. My mom was getting dementia there towards the end of her life. And I said, Mom, for your 90th birthday, I want to play your favorite music for you if I can. She goes, I said, can you tell me about when you were, the kids that you grew up with in school? She says, I don't even remember. I don't remember me below 20, 25 years old at all. And then she started getting really bad. And I came home, and on her 90th birthday, back up to Wisconsin, we went to surprise her. Walked in, and I had 16 CDs, and it was all her music. And I told my younger sister, who had elected to watch over my mom and dad in their latter part of their years, I said, when I leave, I want you to roll tape. And my mom, who had no memories of being a kid, she put these CDs on. My mom put headphones on, and then she started screaming over to my younger sister. Oh, I remember this. Julie and I were in 8th grade. We used to sing this in the hallway. It's like, what? And she cried for days because the memories were just rushing. If you have senior parents,
yeah,
and you know when they were in school, their high school years especially, find that music and just don't intentionally do anything except to hand them that music and say, listen. And I told my mom, I said, I want to give you your youth back for your birthday. Oh, that's cute. Huh? No. And it did. And she, my gosh, she just sang my praises. And that's all anybody wants to hear from their mom, right? Yeah. And she sang my praises, and thank God that he gave me this talent to be aware of the secret sauce in everybody is their music. And everybody has, I don't care for that music. It's not country enough for me. Okay, well, here's something that is. And, I'll play a particular, how did you know? I didn't, I guessed. I'm not going to say, no, I know the psychology behind this, but that's exactly what it is. Stop, look, listen, and you can perform. It's like, I'm aware of when you were in school. That's all I needed. Yeah. Joel Whitburn's got this whole book of every single hit from the 40s all the way through. And you can find out exactly what it is. Put that on a tape or a CD and give that to your parents or whomever and watch them come alive. Yeah. And it's a priceless gift that you can never pay for. It's that intangible.
Yeah. Jay, you just said something that's so important because we live in an area where we're seeing more and more people in assisted living or, memory care and all that. And we have a wellness center on a significant campus here in our community. And my wife works in that arena, and it's the music. You see people, they're just sort of lifeless, and then they play that music and they come alive, and they, just like your mom, remembers things they couldn't do and what a beautiful thing that if we're aware of that we could re-stimulate their.
And it's so easy. I always tell people, if you got a problem with it, it's Jeff at J Fox Productions, and they'll get that to me. And I will help you find a list. I'll be happy to. I'm not going to give you the music because there's now laws against that.
Right.
But I will help you with a list of music as much as I can. I love doing this. I remember my dad, just to pick on him because I found out he hated the Woody Woodpecker song. Remember that one?
Oh my God.
The Woody Woodpecker song. Or I love him. I love him. I love him to bits. It's a Little Blue Man.
Oh man.
It would drive him up a wall. And I'd say, Dad, ever heard this one? Oh my gosh. But it would make everybody in the family laugh because my dad would just lose it. And then I'd turn around and play as Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, or I'd play him as all his he loved organ music and just tons, wheelbarrows of music I'd bring home because that's something that I can do. And you find out something that I can give of myself that's not going to break the bank, and yet it is so rich to the recipient. I mean, they don't even, a lot of them don't even know where to go get this music. Oh, that's gone. Nobody keeps that stuff. Guess what? I have almost every bit of it. Yeah. I literally have thousands and thousands of CDs and albums and now, MP3s and all that stuff. But it's just, that's my passion. And I know the healing power of music. I know how it can calm a land.
It's a universal language.
It absolutely is. My mom and dad made sure that as kids, we were living in DC at the time. We watched Martin Luther King's march on Washington. We were there. And my mom says, we want you to know what kind of disharmony is actually in this nation, and you're going to experience it firsthand. And we sat out, in safe distance because we were not sure how people were going to react.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, my heart's been open, and I know it. It's the revolution will not be televised. That song, if you've never heard it, is so impactful. Listen to it. And it's not. It's Sam Cooke. Oh my gosh, it is a great song.
You're talking about the revolution?
That was
Yeah.
Gil Scott
Right.
Heron, who did
Right.
that one. But yeah, it was Sam Cooke, and The Change Is Going to Come. And those
Right.
songs, they're powerful. And why are they powerful? Listen to the words. Listen to the words. The words are that's poetry. And we love good poets. I don't care for their music. I love their poetry. Don't listen to the music then if you don't like it. Listen to the words. These people have talent. Honor that talent. You don't have to love it, but at least listen to it. Give them that respect.
Right.
And your life can literally be changed with one song. And I've seen it time and time again. And people say, oh yeah, prove it. And I'll do it every single time. Yeah. I'll find out something that they don't believe in, and I'll say, well, listen to this. Wow, I never thought of that. Well, they did. I'm a conduit. Here it is. Listen. And that is the blessing I've gotten from our Lord. And I think that the more I honor it, it comes right back to me. I don't work for a living. I play music for a living. And I love every ounce of my life, every ounce of it. I'm so grateful that I've been able to bring music to people. I wish I could play music. My family all play piano with two hands. I can do it with one. But I love music, even though I can't play it.
Jay, I think that's a great point to we could just go on and on.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it'd be. People can reach out to you. It's scrolling across the bottom. Especially in the conversation we had about what would be the music that help that demographic that could be stimulated to improve the quality of life in the end time. Is so important. I thank you for that comment and bringing that up.
You bet. I love to do that stuff. I love it. It's not even a job. I love doing that. I can give you 10 songs and say, now you take it from here. Yeah. There's, Google. You can Google all this music. Yeah. And luckily, I just already have it in files, and I've got most of it already somewhere all in the house here. And I just, it's such a blessing. And when I realize that's a gift I can give, that is nothing for me to give. It means so much to so many people who get it. It's like, if I can bring that happiness to you, I'm all for it. And I've made such tight connections with people just over the power of music. And it's like, I don't profess to be any better than anybody else. It's just, that's the alley I've walked. That's my road. I know this music. And if I can provide this for you, let me have it, And all these songs that have been up here, I've been watching the screen because it's like,
Hey, they're still coming.
Have you ever?
But we would like to let everybody. I know Mark's wife's probably saying, "Where is Mark? We got this football game to watch."
That's okay.
Bassist. What was it? Paul or whom? What was that bassist? What was that?
Paul Mack or James Jameson. Who's the better bassist?
They're both different styles. I love Paul's funky bass there. James Jameson, smooth. Oh my God. I don't like to compare superstars like that because we all have our own niche.
Right.
And I like the fact that God blessed me with a voice that women like, oh, can you read the phone book to me? Sure, you're right. So I love to do that. It's like, it's
Oh
a gift,
Lord.
but it's just, yeah, I love great bass players. The older I got, the more I listened to Paul McCartney playing really funky things on some of the early Beatles stuff that you never really heard. I go back and I listen to it now and go, man, I love what he does. Thank you, gents. I just relived my life. Well, it's a good thing.
There we go. There we go. So I think that's a great note there.
What's that?
I think it's a great note to leave on here
Yes,
tonight.
it is.
Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
awesome.
Jay, we're going to just ask you to hang tight,
Yeah.
and in the green room, we got a couple. Make sure you get your M&Ms down and that
Oh, yeah,
kind of intro. But and Mark and I will wrap it up and just hang tight for a couple minutes after we're done. And thank you much, my friend.
Absolutely. If you want to know a little
Tremendous.
bit more about my life story, I got the Facebook page on the Jammin' with Jay Fox. And like I said, I just opened that one yesterday, and
Oh,
I've already had
cool.
a couple hundred people came on like in 30 minutes, like, wow. And so let's jump on that because a lot of my life story is there. I've been trying to track it since my wife says, you better do something to document your life because I have no idea.
Leave that legacy story.
Absolutely.
Jay, thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, it
Mark?
was
Thank you. You
educational.
guys are, like I said, I'm big fans of both of you and been watching you now for quite a while. And I am so honored that you thought I was important enough to bring you on and bore you to death tonight. But it sure made my day because I sure love talking about this stuff.
I know. It was great.
Yeah.
All right.
And everybody,
Thanks,
thank you for participating as well. That means a lot. So thank you very much. You guys, I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know when you have something special happen. It just you just know when you see somebody, you hear them,
Absolutely.
there's an essence about them. And I'm honored personally, and I know you as well, having him on. And I'm sure what he shared is relevant to business because it's relationships and authenticity and passion and love of what you do in itself is inspiring. And so that's what I take away from us. I hope those who are watching today. We had a lot of people staying on tonight. That's for
I
sure.
know. Yeah. And Patrick, if you get the prize, man, for the questions, man, you just kept coming and coming and coming, awesome. And just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. It started our journey, which is never ending. It started we at 6, and here it is at
6:40, buddy.
Yeah. 7:39 somewhere. Yeah. 6:40 your time. So yeah. And
we could probably do a marathon. We get Jay on.
Oh yeah.
We could probably do a marathon, right? We could
get
do a
Jay,
marathon.
Ben Gay, probably Jay
Jensen.
Yeah. I would just go on and on. Just those three. They love to talk. I just wanted to say what I got out of it is he truly emulates about being a leader, being a friend, and being of service. And when I say that, you can see that he's sincere about what it is he's doing, his mission, his purpose, there's no two ways about it. And he's the type of guy I'd like to hang around with and ask questions. You talk about umpiring, you talk about there's other things I do. And there are guys like that out there that I go and say, hey, let's talk about this. And they're a real joy to be around. They just open your eyes up to things and give you a different perspective. And I could sit down and talk to him about music, which when we get behind the stage here, I'll have to share a few things with you that you don't even know about me, but I'm not going to broadcast it here. But since he was talking about all this music stuff, but I think he was a great interview. He's a great guy. Yeah. Someone I'd love to hang out with just and have, just talk, have a cup of coffee, grab a sandwich and just go at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mark, who in prediction of the game? Who you rooting for
well,
tonight?
I will say this. I think it is Georgia's turn. I think they should win. But I just feel like, that elephant, the Crimson Tide, will probably figure out a way to get it done. I'm not saying, and I think Georgia on paper probably even has the better team, to some extent, but it's that process that Saban has those guys amped up and ready to do. And, I think it'll be a close game. Absolutely. I'm sure my wife will be screaming, but I'll sit there quietly. I just enjoy watching, because the last game, my older son and her, they were just going at it and yelling this and that. And geez, you would have thought the game was in my living room, but I said, it's just a game. They're like, oh, shut up. Anyway, but yeah, I think Alabama will probably in the end prevail. I'd like to see Georgia win, but will it happen? I don't know.
Well, it'd be a good game. And Mark, let's wrap her up. I'll just do the
Sure.
rollout, and we'll just take a couple minutes with Jay here at the end. So
Absolutely.
we are done. Thanks everybody for here. We're
tremendous. Enjoy your
grateful.
Monday. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
again for being here.
Great.